So this is section 6-5. This is section 6-5, and this is a review. There's only one tiny little bit difference of this that you have not had before, and that's the fact that we're dealing with negative numbers here. Okay, negative rational numbers with decimals. Other than that, I actually taught this lesson on Monday to my 6th graders. So that means that you've had this from this base. Okay? You've had it from Holland or Keller. Or if you went to a different school last year, I don't know. But you guys have had this before. All right? So this is simply division. Gentlemen, stop talking. Your desk's always messed up. Put your feet under your desk. Dividing. We have 63 divided by 3, and that is equal to 63 divided by 3 with that fraction bar. And the way to remember that is what we're teaching the 6th graders this year, which is first in, second out. First in, second out. That's interesting, but I would like you to not distract the others in this classroom, so please put your glasses normal. Thank you. First in, second out. I want you to write that. Can you please put your bottom in the chair, please? First in, second out. What that means is whenever you see a division problem, read 63 divided by 3, that means the first word that you have, you put that inside the fraction bar. The second one you have, you put that outside of it. Number 63 in this situation is the dividend. That's the number that is going to be divided. Then we have 3, which is the divisor. Just the same way that 3 is dividing the dividend, it's the same situation as when an academic advisor advises your academics. A financial advisor advises you on what to do with finance. A divisor is going to divide what the dividend is. Yes?
You said that same exact phrase.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. Hey, memory is a crazy thing. So we have the dividend divided by the divisor. So here's where I'm at, people. The dividend divided by the divisor equals a quotient. On the test that you guys are going to get back before the end of class today, it shows that there's some confusion as far as what a quotient is. Some of you wrote down that whenever you have a fraction, the fraction bar, which means divided by, is a quotient. No, the quotient is the answer to a division problem. When dividing decimals, the divisor must be a whole number. That is a big concept. I would like you all to underline this right here. There were 4 people in 4th period that came up to me after I handed out the homework, and they said, "What do I do here?" And I'm like, "What were you doing the last 25 minutes?" If it is a decimal, you will move the decimal to the right until it becomes a whole number. You will move the decimal in the dividend the same number of spaces that you move it in the divisor. Okay? You've had this before, and Is that yours?
Yeah.
Okay, if you're not writing, put it down. That's the 4th time you've dropped it almost. That's definitely a second. Definitely a second, possibly more, but I have my back. So it says here, example 1. We have 8.4 divided by 4.2. As you just highlighted above that, it says you cannot have a divisor be a decimal. So what we have to do is we will need to move the decimal. You don't have to highlight that. That's just to guide you guys to where I am. You don't have to highlight that. I'm just guiding YouTube and whatever where I am. You're going to move the decimal one place to the right. You will also move the decimal and the dividend one place to the right. Can we stop tapping? Thank you. So the problem becomes, so what we're doing is, I want you to write this. We are moving the decimal one place there and one place there. So now it becomes to look like the one below it. Now the divisor is a whole number. So it is important to bring the decimal straight up above the division symbol. So I want you to draw the decimal that has the arrow pointing to it. So like I just did up there, you're going to write that decimal. I'm going to write that decimal. This will make sure that the decimal point is in the correct spot of the answer. There were some of my 6th graders that were drawing their decimal, they were doing it straight above it, but they were lining up the numbers they were doing, not over the digit that they were devising. Okay, so hopefully you guys won't be doing that, but we'll be able to find out as we're doing this today. So example 2. You will need to move the decimal 2 places to the right because there are 2 decimal places in the divisor. You're going to change the divisor to whole number. However, since there is only 1 digit in the dividend, you will have to add zeros as a placeholder. So here's what's happening. We would need to move this guy 2 over. This guy would need to go 1, 2, but there's nothing here. Right? There's nothing there, so what you would do is you would add zeros in this spot, and then you're going to put your decimal up there. Come on. Thank you. All right, so you have your decimal right above that second 0. Now this is just a review as to how to find a quotient. Okay, this is broken down in steps, everything that you have to do. So if you're wondering, or if you want to make sure that you don't make any mistakes for this quiz that's going to be on Wednesday, what you would do is you would write in standard form. Then what you would do is you move the decimal point at the divisor and the dividend. In this situation, it's only going one time because it's 3.4. So 55.318 becomes 553.18. Then you're just going to keep dividing until the quotient repeats or it comes out evenly. If you get to 10 thousandths on your homework tonight, you should probably double check to make sure you're not making any mistakes. Okay? There was someone that was working on a single problem today for a while because they made a mistake on their second number. So they made a mistake on this part right here, and it ended up going on for a long time. And we don't want that. We don't want that. All right. Then we have add the zeros to the right to the dividend as needed. The quotient for that one is 16.27. The reason why I kind of rushed through it a little bit is because A, you had this last year. B, that stuff you should know, but we're just getting it so you guys have an opportunity to really master this stuff because it has to do with some negative numbers. So speaking of negative numbers, from our integer rules, we know that if we have one negative rational number being divided by or multiplied by a positive number, what is our quotient going to be? Our quotient is always going to be negative there. So what I'm going to do is, when I write this, remember how it's first, the FISO, first in, second out? So that means the first one, which is 42, is going to be in. Second one is going to be out. And because of what Sparrow just said, he said that it's going to be negative because he knows that any positive thing divided by a negative thing or a negative thing divided by a positive thing is going to be negative. I'm going to write a negative sign right there so I don't make that mistake. Okay, follow along with us, please. Now the next step that I have to do is, which is the biggest part of it, I have to move the decimal place. How many decimal places am I going to move it? Joey, how far am I going to go? 1, because I have 1 decimal place here, so I'm going to go right there, then I'm going to go right there. I'm going to make a big decimal point, and I have to do a placeholder. 0. So it becomes negative, or it becomes 420 divided by negative 8. Okay, just at quarter after every time, we'll know.
Yeah.
And that second page is the homework. Okay. Yes. So I'm going to do this now, division, the same way that I normally would. 8 goes into 42 5 times. Leaves a 2 here, a 0. This gets brought down. 8 goes into 20 twice. 8 times 2 is 16. This is 40. I have to create another 0 here. 40, and that just becomes negative 42.5 or 52.5. But I'm not done yet. I need to write y equals negative 52.5, and that's my answer. Did you have an answer, or do you have a question? Okay, sorry. Didn't mean to ignore you. Number 2. First in, second out. FISO. Crisco? FISO. I don't know. I'm gonna ask how Mr. Holland and Mr. Keller pronounced it next time I see them. I have 1 decimal point that I need to get rid of in my divisor. So I'm going to move this over to here, and I'm going to move this guy to here. So here's my new spot for that. And I'm going to put my decimal place right above it so I don't forget that. I have 2 positive numbers that I'm dealing with, so I know that my quotient is going to be positive. Ms. Loyat?
If you put, like, the answer equals x, does it matter if you put the answer and then x, or like x and the answer?
Good question. No, it doesn't. We're showing you it in front and behind, so you can see that it can happen both ways. So I have 9 does not go into 6, but it does go into 63 7 times. So this becomes 63. It's a 0. So my answer is 0.7 equals x, or x equals 0.7. Yep, beautiful. Beautiful. Then we have this one. Once again, first in, second out. And I have 2 negative symbols. So my quotient is going to be even. No, sorry, positive. My quotient is going to be positive. And just a good example of that, -1 over -1, that just becomes 1, which is positive. Yep. Yep. Okay. First in, second out. And as I just decided and told you that, or as we just remembered, it's going to be a positive number. So I'm going to get rid of these negatives right now because my quotient is going to be positive whether those negatives are in there or not. Now, I have to move that decimal for that 9, right? No. We don't have to. It's not always going to be where we have to mess with the divisor. The divisor just has to be a whole number. It has to be a whole number, and it already is a whole number, so we don't have to change it. Okay, so that will happen tonight on the homework. So this just happens one time here. 6, bring down the 3. 63, 1.7. So the final answer is Scott equals 1.7. M. We're going to get through this one, then you can ask me other questions. So we have first in, second out. $93.702. 9, yeah. Missing a couple digits there. So I need to make this a whole number. So this is going to go over just once. This is going to go over just once. I have a new decimal point, new decimal point. So I'm going to go, how many times does 24 go into 93? That's 3. Which is 72. Quiet. Quiet. That one's going to be, I have 1 here, 21. That 7 now comes down. How many times does 24 go into 217? Now, this would be a situation where you would write on a different sheet of paper if this was your taking a test right now. A lot of people didn't show your work on the test. You probably put it on that green paper, and there was information that probably could have earned you a couple points. So that part would be on your paper. But if I'm trying to find out how many times 24 goes into 217, and I know that 24 times 10 is just 240, which is too much. 24 times 8, I'll try that because that's too much. So I'm going to do 4 times 8 is going to be 32. Okay. Then I have 16, 192. But look, I'm going to be really close. I'm going to try it now with 9. I should have done that before, right? So we have 20. This is going to be 36. 18 plus 3 is 216. Boy, that's close. So now I know that it's 9. And then since this is on a separate sheet of paper that I wouldn't turned in, I would erase that. So we have 216. It does not go into 24, does not go into 10, so that means I have to bring down another one. I put a 0 up here, I bring down another one. And 24, 24 is going to go over 4 times because it's really close to $1 and a quarter is 25. So I'm going to be 4 less than 100. Now I have 2 decimal points here, so I'm almost to the thousandth where I should go back and double check my work, right? Should go back and double check my work. Hi, thank you. She's not here. Well, not in this class at least. Sorry, thanks. So 102 divided by 96, there's going to be 6 there. Divided by 96, what? I need to bring this more because I need to add another digit. 60. It's going to go in twice only. 48. Now I should start to think, oh, okay, if I get one more number that doesn't get out to 0, I might need to double check myself so there's no wreckage. So I have 12 here. Need to bring this one down. Hopefully this will come out to be 0, because if it does, that means I'm done. Is there a multiple of 25? Look at this. We have 29. So I have 4, which was 96 right here. I have 4, which is 96. Hopefully that one will be 24 less than it is. Yes, it is. So that means I put a 5 here. And that's going to be 120, which is 0. Yay. There's that whole problem. This is a part where organization is a good thing. For those of you who have kind of rough handwriting, you may want to make sure that you write big enough that you can tell what you're doing, and keeping track of all digits and keeping track of all spots, whether it be the tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths, or 100,000th place. All right, so let's go to the second page here now. The second page. Shh. I'm going to zoom out so I can get to the second page. Oh. Huh. Well, sorry, the third page. I guess the third page isn't there, which can only mean one thing. Your third page is your homework. And here's what you're doing for the rest of the time. You have 21 minutes. We are exactly on time with we were in fourth period. You had 21 minutes to work on your homework. So there's a lot of people who finished, and in 10 minutes time, I'm going to pass out the test from Friday so you can look at it and use that to study for the exam Friday. Is that clear? Next Friday. Are there any questions as to what is expected of you? Okay, we are not talking, we are working, and that's it.